A woman in a simple gray habit stands quietly at the registration table of the National Shooting Championships, her weathered hands holding a manila folder containing her entry forms. The range master barely glances up from his clipboard when she mentions her sniper classification request. Tournament director Jake Morrison bursts into laughter when she states her military service record. "Sister, this is a precision rifle competition, not a church social," he says dismissively, gesturing toward her religious attire and rosary beads. The other competitors gathered around the registration area join in the mockery, suggesting she might be confused about the event location. Just as embarrassment threatens to overwhelm her quiet dignity, the afternoon desert wind carries an unexpected sound across the range. The distant crack of a rifle shot echoes from the 1,000-yard line, and all conversation stops. From which corner of the world are you witnessing this moment of precision and faith today? If stories of unexpected excellence, shattering assumptions inspire you, consider subscribing for more moments where skill speaks louder than stereotypes. The Whittington Center in northern New Mexico sprawled across 33,000 acres of high desert terrain, its shooting ranges extending from 100 yards to over 1,000 yards across landscape that had challenged marksmen for decades. This September morning, the facility buzzed with the controlled excitement that marked the annual Precision Rifle Championship, a competition that drew the nation's most skilled shooters to compete in conditions that would test every aspect of long-range marksmanship. The registration building hummed with the conversation of competitors checking equipment, reviewing range conditions, and sizing up their competition for the three-day event. The gathering represented a cross-section of America's shooting sports community. Current and former military personnel, law enforcement officers, competitive shooters, and serious enthusiasts who had spent years perfecting their craft at ranges across the country. Behind the main registration table sat Jake Morrison, the tournament director whose 25 years of organizing precision rifle competitions had earned him respect throughout the shooting sports world. At 52, his weathered face and calloused hands told the story of countless hours spent on ranges, coaching competitors, and perfecting his own marksmanship skills. His reputation for maintaining strict standards and running fair competitions had made the Whittington Championship one of the most prestigious events on the precision rifle calendar. Scattered throughout the registration area were competitors whose equipment and bearing marked them as serious contenders for the championship title. Master Sergeant, retired, Robert Chun displayed the quiet confidence that came from 20 years as an Army sniper instructor. His custom rifle case and precision tools spoke of someone who understood the technical demands of long-range accuracy. Beside him, FBI Special Agent Patricia Williams reviewed her data books with the methodical attention that had made her one of the Bureau's most accomplished marksmen. Also present was Dr. Michael Torres, a civilian competitor whose engineering background and obsessive attention to ballistic details had earned him multiple championship titles. His laptop displayed windage calculations and atmospheric data that would have impressed military snipers, and his equipment represented thousands of dollars invested in pursuit of perfect accuracy. The atmosphere was collegial but competitive, marked by the mutual respect that existed among people who understood the dedication required to achieve excellence in precision marksmanship. Conversations ranged from technical discussions of ammunition specifications to friendly speculation about who might claim this year's championship trophy. Into this gathering of elite marksmen walked someone who seemed entirely out of place in the high-tech world of competitive shooting. Sister Catherine Mary approached the registration table wearing the simple gray habit of the Sisters of Mercy, her appearance marking her as clearly religious in an environment that was overwhelmingly secular and technical. At 62, Sister Catherine possessed the kind of weathered dignity that came from decades of service to others. Her hands, visible beneath the sleeves of her habit, bore calluses that spoke of physical labor and practical work, though their source wasn't immediately apparent to the shooting competitors who glanced at her with curiosity and growing amusement. Around her neck hung a simple wooden rosary, and in her weathered hands she carried a manila folder containing what appeared to be standard competition entry forms. Her approach toward Jake Morrison was confident but respectful, the bearing of someone accustomed to dealing with authority figures but not intimidated by secular environments. Jake looked up from his registration materials with obvious surprise as Sister Catherine approached his table. His expression suggested that religious personnel requesting to enter precision rifle competitions was not something his extensive experience had prepared him to handle. "Good morning," Sister Catherine said, her voice carrying the kind of gentle authority that marked career educators and community leaders. "I'd like to register for the Precision Rifle Championship. I have my entry forms and supporting documentation." Jake blinked several times, processing the unexpected request. Around the registration area, conversations had quieted as other competitors noticed the unusual interaction taking place at the main desk. "Sister, I'm sorry, what's your name?" Jake asked, consulting his pre-registration lists with obvious confusion. "Sister Catherine Mary, from St. Margaret's Mission in Gallup. I submitted my registration materials 3 weeks ago, along with payment and all required documentation." Jake shuffled through his paperwork, clearly trying to locate registration information he didn't remember processing. "Sister, I have to ask, are you sure you're in the right place? This is the National Precision Rifle Championship. It's a competitive shooting event that requires extensive experience with high-powered rifles." Sister Catherine smiled with patient understanding. "Yes, Mr. Morrison. I'm quite familiar with precision rifle competition. I've been shooting competitively for over 30 years. This statement caused barely suppressed laughter from several competitors within earshot. Master Sergeant Chen looked up from his equipment checklist with obvious amusement, while Dr. Torres stopped his ballistic calculations to observe what he clearly considered an entertaining misunderstanding. Jake's voice took on the kind of gentle condescension that people use when addressing those they consider confused or misplaced. "Sister, precision rifle shooting isn't like trap shooting or skeet. We're talking about shots at distances up to 1,000 yards, requiring extensive knowledge of ballistics, environmental factors, and specialized equipment. I understand the requirements, Mr. Morrison. I've been competing at that level for quite some time." FBI Agent Williams couldn't contain her amusement any longer. "Sister, with all due respect, when you say you've been shooting competitively, are we talking about church carnival games or maybe some kind of recreational target shooting?" Sister Catherine turned to address Agent Williams with the same patient dignity she had shown Jake. "Agent Williams, I assume from your equipment that you're law enforcement. I've been shooting precision rifles since before most law enforcement agencies had formal sniper programs." This claim triggered actual laughter from multiple competitors. Master Sergeant Chen set down his rifle case and approached the registration table with the authority of someone whose military expertise gave him standing to address obvious misconceptions. "Sister, no disrespect intended, but precision rifle shooting at this level requires military or law enforcement training that simply isn't available through civilian programs. The skills we're talking about take years of specialized instruction and thousands of rounds of practice." Sister Catherine's expression remained serene despite the growing mockery. "Sergeant Chen, I recognize your unit patch. You served with the 82nd Airborne. Excellent reputation for marksmanship training." The accuracy of her military knowledge surprised Chun, but didn't diminish his skepticism about her claimed shooting abilities. Jake Morrison was growing increasingly uncomfortable with the situation. His tournament had attracted serious competitors from across the country, and he was concerned about maintaining the event's credibility and safety standards. "Sister Catherine, I appreciate your interest in shooting sports, but this competition requires documented proof of advanced marksmanship training. Do you have military service records, law enforcement certification, or competition results from sanctioned precision rifle events?" Sister Catherine opened her manila folder and extracted several documents with careful attention. "I have my military service records, Mr. Morrison. I served 12 years in the Army before taking my religious vows." This revelation caused a momentary pause in the mockery, but Dr. Torres quickly voiced the skepticism that others were thinking. "Sister, women weren't allowed in combat roles during the time period when you would have served. What kind of military service would have provided sniper training to female personnel?" Sister Catherine's voice remained steady despite the increasingly hostile questioning. "Dr. Torres, I served in military intelligence and special operations support roles that required specialized marksmanship training. The specific details of that service remain classified, but my shooting qualifications are documented in these records." The laughter that followed was louder now, emboldened by the apparent absurdity of Sister Catherine's claims. Jake Morrison shook his head with the exaggerated patience of someone dealing with what he considered obvious delusions. Sister, this is getting ridiculous. You're claiming military sniper training from classified operations? This sounds like something from a movie, not a legitimate military service record. Agent Williams joined the attack with prosecutorial skepticism. Sister, are you seriously asking us to believe that you served in some kind of secret military sniper program that trained women for classified operations? And that this training somehow remained secret while you became a nun? Sister Catherine's composure began to show slight cracks under the sustained mockery, but her voice remained controlled. Agent Williams, I understand that my current vocation makes my previous military service seem unlikely, but the training I received was real, and my marksmanship skills have been maintained through regular practice. Master Sergeant Chun had heard enough. He approached Sister Catherine with the authority of someone whose 20 years of military service gave him credibility to end what he considered an embarrassing charade. Sister, I've trained snipers for 2 decades. I know every program, every facility, and every instructor who has provided legitimate precision rifle training to military personnel. There were no classified programs training women for sniper roles during your potential service period. He gestured toward her religious attire with obvious dismissal. More importantly, the lifestyle required for maintaining sniper-level marksmanship is incompatible with religious community life. The daily practice, the physical conditioning, the mental discipline, none of that is possible while serving in a convent. Sister Catherine looked around at the circle of skeptical competitors, their laughter and dismissal isolating her in an environment where her claims seemed increasingly absurd. Sergeant Chun, I understand your skepticism. Most people assume that religious life is incompatible with military skills. But service to God and service to country can take many forms, and some skills transcend the environments where they were learned. Jake Morrison finally decided to end what he considered a disruptive situation that was wasting valuable registration time. Sister Catherine, I'm going to ask you to step aside. This competition requires verified credentials from participants, and your claims simply aren't substantiated by credible documentation. He addressed the other competitors with obvious relief at resolving an awkward situation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue with legitimate registrations. We have range time to allocate and equipment checks to complete. Sister Catherine remained standing at the registration table, isolated by the laughter and professional dismissal of every person present. Her religious vocation had become a barrier to recognition rather than a source of respect. Just as she began to gather her rejected documents, the desert afternoon was split by a sound that caused everyone in the registration building to pause. The distinctive crack of a high-powered rifle firing at extreme range. The sound came from the direction of the 1,000-yard line, where no official competition was scheduled for the afternoon. Registration period. Jake Morrison frowned as he checked his range schedule, clearly concerned about unauthorized use of competition facilities. Nobody's supposed to be shooting the long-range course during registration, he muttered, grabbing his radio to contact the range safety officers. The radio crackled with an excited voice that carried clearly through the registration building. Tournament control. This is Range Safety Officer Rodriguez at the 1,000-yard line. You need to get out here immediately. Someone just fired a shot that. Well, you're not going to believe this. Jake's frown deepened as he responded. Rodriguez, what's the situation? Do we have unauthorized shooters on the long-range course? Sir, we have one shooter who appears to be conducting sight-in work, but the shot placement it's extraordinary. You need to see this target personally. The conversation over the radio had captured the attention of every competitor in the registration building. Unauthorized shooting during registration was a serious safety violation, but Rodriguez's tone suggested something beyond standard protocol violations. Jake grabbed his binoculars and headed toward the door, followed by several competitors who were curious about the unusual radio traffic. Master Sergeant Chun, Agent Williams, and Dr. Torres joined the group walking toward the 1,000-yard line, their equipment and conversation forgotten in favor of investigating the mysterious shooting. Sister Catherine quietly gathered her documents and followed the group at a respectful distance, her expression showing neither surprise nor particular curiosity about the situation developing at the long-range course. The walk to the 1,000-yard line took 15 minutes across desert terrain that offered clear views of the shooting positions and target frames. As they approached the firing line, they could see Range Safety Officer Rodriguez standing beside a shooting mat where someone was positioned behind a precision rifle. The shooter was prone in textbook position, their body alignment and rifle control demonstrating the kind of fundamental perfection that marked expert-level marksmanship. Even from a distance, their form was clearly that of someone with extensive training and significant experience. Jake approached Rodriguez with obvious concern about safety protocol violations. "Rodriguez, what's the situation here? Why do we have unauthorized shooting during registration period?" Rodriguez pointed toward the target frames 1,000 yards downrange, his voice carrying excitement and disbelief. "Sir, you need to look at that target through your spotting scope. I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've never seen anything like it." Jake set up his spotting scope and focused on the target frame at the far end of the range. Through the high-powered optics, he could see a standard precision rifle target with concentric rings marked for scoring long-range accuracy. His expression changed from annoyance to amazement as he processed what he was seeing. "Rodriguez, is this target from today's shooting?" "Yes, sir. Single shot, fired about 10 minutes ago. I was setting up targets for tomorrow's competition when I heard the shot and saw the impact." Jake remained at the spotting scope, his voice carrying disbelief. This is not possible. The shot placement is dead center X-ring at 1,000 yards. Perfect 10-ring impact with what appears to be match-grade precision. Master Sergeant Chun pushed forward to look through the spotting scope, his 20 years of sniper instruction giving him authority to evaluate what they were witnessing. After several seconds of observation, he looked up with an expression that mixed professional respect with complete confusion. "That's a world-class shot," Chun said quietly. "Perfect center mass at extreme range under current wind conditions. Maybe a dozen people in the country could make that shot consistently." Dr. Torres took his turn at the spotting scope, his engineering background allowing him to appreciate the technical precision required for such accuracy. The ballistic calculation alone would challenge most competitive shooters. Wind estimation at this range requires years of experience. Agent Williams looked through the scope with the analytical attention she brought to law enforcement shooting scenarios. The shot placement indicates someone with extensive precision rifle training. Military sniper level. Minimum. As the group of competitors discussed the extraordinary marksmanship they were witnessing, Jake Morrison finally turned his attention to the shooter who remained in position on the firing line. "Excuse me," he called out, his voice carrying across the range. "Could you please identify yourself and explain your authorization to use this range during registration period?" The shooter began the process of clearing and securing the rifle with movements that demonstrated complete familiarity with precision shooting protocols. Every action was performed with the kind of automatic competence that came from thousands of repetitions under instruction. As the shooter rose from the prone position and turned toward the group of observers, Jake Morrison's mouth fell open in recognition and shock. Sister Catherine Mary stood behind the precision rifle, her gray habit slightly dusty from the shooting position, but her bearing unmistakably that of someone completely comfortable with the weapon and the range environment. "Mr. Morrison," she said, her voice carrying the same gentle authority she had shown during registration, "I apologize for using the range without proper coordination. I wanted to verify my rifle's zero before tomorrow's competition begins." The silence that followed was profound. Every person present stared at the nun who had just demonstrated marksmanship that exceeded the capabilities of most military snipers and competitive shooters. Master Sergeant Chun was the first to find his voice, though it came out as barely more than a whisper. "Sister Catherine, that was your shot? You fired that round?" "Yes, Sergeant Chun. My rifle was zeroed for different atmospheric conditions, and I wanted to confirm the adjustment calculations for this altitude and temperature." Dr. Torres looked back and forth between Sister Catherine and the target 1,000 yards away, trying to process the impossible combination of religious vocation and world-class marksmanship. "Sister, that shot, that level of precision, how is that possible?" Sister Catherine began cleaning her rifle with the methodical attention that marked someone maintaining precision equipment. "Dr. Torres, the fundamentals of marksmanship don't change based on what clothes you wear or what vows you've taken. Breathing control, sight alignment, trigger discipline. These are skills that transfer across different contexts. Jake Morrison approached Sister Catherine with obvious embarrassment and growing respect. Sister, I owe you a profound apology. We dismissed your claims without giving them serious consideration. Agent Williams stared at the rifle Sister Catherine was cleaning, a custom precision instrument that represented thousands of dollars in specialized equipment and modifications. Sister, that's not standard hunting equipment. That rifle is configured for extreme long-range precision shooting. Yes, Agent Williams. I've maintained my equipment and skills since leaving military service. The mission may have changed, but the discipline required for precision marksmanship has served me well in many contexts. Master Sergeant Chun examined Sister Catherine's shooting position and the precision of her equipment setup with professional respect. Sister, your shooting form is textbook perfect. That's not recreational marksmanship. That's military sniper-level technique. Sister Catherine shouldered her rifle case with practiced efficiency. Sergeant Chun, I appreciate your professional assessment. The training I received during my military service emphasized that marksmanship skills are perishable. They must be maintained through regular practice and continuous attention to fundamentals. As the group of competitors processed what they had witnessed, Jake Morrison realized that his tournament had just gained a competitor whose abilities exceeded those of most participants. Sister Catherine, about your registration. Obviously, your credentials are more than adequate for this competition. I want to personally ensure that you receive appropriate recognition and support during the tournament. Sister Catherine smiled with the same gentle dignity she had shown during the earlier mockery. Mr. Morrison, I appreciate your courtesy, but I don't require special treatment. I simply want to compete alongside these skilled marksmen and enjoy the opportunity to test my abilities against worthy opponents. Dr. Torres was still staring at the target through the spotting scope, trying to fully comprehend the precision he had witnessed. Sister, I have to ask, how do you maintain this level of skill while serving in a religious community? The practice requirements alone would seem incompatible with convent life. Sister Catherine's expression showed the first hint of amusement she had displayed all day. Dr. Torres, our mission serves a very remote area of New Mexico where ranching and hunting are essential for community survival. The skills that some consider purely military have very practical applications in rural ministry. She paused, looking out across the desert landscape that surrounded the shooting range. Additionally, the discipline required for precision marksmanship, patience, focus, dedication to perfection, service to others, these align quite well with the spiritual discipline of religious life. Agent Williams approached Sister Catherine with professional curiosity. Sister, I have to ask about your military service. Your shooting skills suggest training at the highest levels. Can you provide any details about your background? Sister Catherine considered the question carefully. Agent Williams, I can confirm that my military training included specialized marksmanship instruction that prepared me for operations requiring extreme precision under challenging conditions. The specific details of that training remain classified, but the skills were real and have been maintained. As the group prepared to return to the registration building, Master Sergeant Chun addressed Sister Catherine with the respect that one professional marksman shows another. Sister, I want to apologize for my earlier skepticism. Your demonstration has earned my professional respect, and I'm honored to be competing alongside someone with your level of expertise. Sister Catherine accepted his apology graciously. Sergeant Chun, your skepticism was understandable. Most people don't expect to find military-level marksmanship skills within a religious community. The walk back to the registration building was marked by a complete transformation in how the competitors viewed Sister Catherine. What had begun as mockery of an apparently confused nun had become recognition of someone whose shooting abilities exceeded those of most participants in the prestigious competition. Jake Morrison used the walk to apologize repeatedly for his earlier dismissal of Sister Catherine's credentials. Sister, I want you to know that your demonstration today will be remembered as one of the most impressive displays of marksmanship I've witnessed in 25 years of organizing competitions. As they reached the registration building, other competitors who had remained behind immediately noticed the change in atmosphere surrounding Sister Catherine. Word of her extraordinary shot spread quickly through the gathering, transforming her from an object of amusement to someone commanding genuine respect. The registration process that followed was markedly different from Sister Catherine's earlier reception. Jake Morrison personally handled her paperwork, ensuring that she received appropriate lane assignments and access to all competition facilities. Dr. Torres approached her with technical questions about her equipment and shooting techniques, clearly eager to learn from someone whose demonstrated abilities exceeded his own considerable expertise. Agent Williams engaged Sister Catherine in detailed discussions about training methodologies and skill maintenance, recognizing that she was speaking with someone whose background included training that few law enforcement personnel ever received. As the afternoon registration period concluded, Sister Catherine had been transformed from an object of mockery to one of the competition's most respected participants. Her religious vocation, rather than being a barrier to acceptance, had become part of what made her achievement remarkable. That evening, as competitors gathered for the traditional pre-competition dinner, Sister Catherine found herself seated at the head table alongside the tournament's most distinguished participants. Jake Morrison introduced her to the assembled crowd as someone whose demonstration of marksmanship had reminded everyone present that excellence could be found in unexpected places. "Ladies and gentlemen," Morrison told the gathered competitors, "today we learned something important about assumptions and about the diverse backgrounds that people bring to precision shooting." Sister Catherine reminded us that marksmanship skills transcend the environments where they were learned and that dedication to perfection can take many forms. Master Sergeant Chin stood to address the crowd, his earlier skepticism replaced by genuine admiration. "I want to publicly acknowledge that I underestimated Sister Catherine based on appearances and assumptions. Her demonstration today showed marksmanship that would be impressive from anyone, but is extraordinary given the unique path that brought her to competitive shooting." The competition that followed over the next 3 days saw Sister Catherine finish in the top 5 overall, consistently demonstrating the precision that had marked her qualification shot. Her performance earned respect from competitors and spectators alike, many of whom had never seen such a combination of technical skill and quiet humility. At the awards ceremony, Sister Catherine received recognition not only for her individual marksmanship achievements, but for demonstrating that excellence in precision shooting could coexist with dedication to spiritual service and community support. Her story became legendary within the precision rifle community, shared at competitions across the country as an example of how the most remarkable skills sometimes belonged to the most unexpected people. 6 months later, Sister Catherine began offering marksmanship instruction to young people in her rural community, teaching both the technical aspects of precision shooting and the discipline and focus that made such precision possible. Her classes became renowned for producing some of the Southwest's most skilled young marksmen, many of whom went on to successful military and law enforcement careers built on the foundation of excellence that Sister Catherine had provided. The shooting range at St. Margaret's Mission became a destination for precision rifle enthusiasts from across the region, drawn by the opportunity to learn from someone whose unique combination of military expertise and spiritual dedication had produced marksmanship abilities that were legendary throughout the competitive shooting world. Have you ever encountered someone whose extraordinary abilities were hidden beneath an appearance that challenged all your assumptions? Sometimes the most remarkable skills belong to people whose life paths have taken them far from the environments where those skills were developed, yet who have maintained their excellence through dedication that transcends the boundaries between different forms of service to others.